Hey, everybody. Welcome to FFL Achievers. And we are so honored to have Executive Board Member Tray Honeycutt in the house.
Thank you.
You've got fans. We love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Listen, we're just going to take a couple quick minutes. Thank you for coming in and serving agents. That's what we do every day. And you say this, if we can just get a little better tomorrow and a little better the next day. And training like this is really pouring into all of us. So thank you for taking the time out. I know when you say you love your agents, literally you do, because you're here helping your cousin. So
yeah, definitely.
So quick question for you. Today you you poured into the agents. And one thing you said about when we're looking at agents that are starting this business or when we're recruiting at all, you talk to people and you really look for not the fear of loss, but you're looking for people that want to have a gain. It's when we're hiring the right people. That was huge. Would you share a little of that mindset when you're recruiting?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think all too often what happens is, we cast a wide net, and a lot of people that are attracted are people that are in a desperate situation right now. And they come at this looking at their situation like, I need to make this happen by this, I'm behind on the bills, this, that, and the other thing. And the way I've always looked at it is, they had financial problems before. I never expected FFL to fix my financial problems in the next week or two based on, because when I started, that's where I was at. I had this wreckage in my past of bad financial decisions. I was bankrupt. I'd foreclosed on. I'd had cars repossessed. I'd made a bunch of mistakes. I felt like I let everybody down, and I never thought I'd ever be in a position where I could actually even make a living again in anything else. And so I had all that baggage behind me. And the thing that I decided to do early on in FFL is realize that I'm not going to fix 10 years of bad decisions with, 2 or 3 weeks worth of work. And even though I had a lot that was pulling against me, I was doing this for hope of gain. I was doing this to look at it, what was going to happen a year or two from now. And what happens a lot in the business is people way overestimate what they can do in a week or two, and they way underestimate how much this can change their life if they're just consistent for a couple of years. And so that's the type of person I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a person with a perfect pass or even a bunch of money in the bank to invest or have to be in the greatest situation in life. I just need to find someone who's where they are, they know why they're where they are, and they're looking to make a change and grow in a positive way and have the correct expectations of what success looks like moving forward.
That's huge. Okay, so let me ask you this, because what happens is when we talk to people and we're looking for the people, we used to say we're looking for those that are looking. Okay, but that's huge because what they're bringing with them, right, it is a lot of times baggage, and they are not open about that. So how do you drill down on that to set an expectation so they understand? We all can go through the questions, and you understand it's a business. You work for yourself. It takes investment. It takes time. How do you set the expectation for them when you suspect that perhaps they are really in a financial situation, but they're not being open about it?
Well, there's two parts of it. You could set the expectation, but it's setting the right course of activity for yourself. Okay. So, like for me, the number one thing I know I can do for every single agent that we recruit is to not stop recruiting. Like, I believe in everybody, but I don't count on anyone. So if somebody comes in and they don't knock it out of the park 2 weeks in, or they have this baggage that they're getting over from a year ago, I can be really patient with those people because I'm not waiting on them. So it allows me to deal with them the right way. The antithesis of that is recruiting 2 or 3 people, and it has to work for those ones. Like, those are the ones that are going to make this work for me, like that attitude. And now it's a weird dynamic. The best thing Andrew Taylor ever did for me is not need me. He wasn't waiting on me. He was going to continue to recruit people, and it gave me time to work out my own baggage and move at my own pace.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. All right. Now, when someone is being very transparent, it's like, look, I understand all that. You talk about giving them very specific activities to do. For the newest agent, like, what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times what new agents do is they tend to engage in like avoidance type behaviors. They think that all the lights need to turn green before they leave the house. And I understand, because I was a new agent, that the most important thing I can do is get a deposit from an insurance carrier. Okay. So all I'm trying to do with a new agent is help them get paid by Americo or get paid by Mutual of Omaha or John Hancock or whoever, because that deposit will do more for them, their belief, their credibility, all of it, their training process, all of it, than any magic words that I can do or any amount of training that I can do.
And so you want that for them, but what's on them? What do they have to do to make that happen?
Get leads and dial them. You know, that's really what it comes down to. And I try to put parameters in place that make it easier for them to do that or more palatable. But I also know that there's a lot of things that people throw up that are like smoke screens that will prevent them from doing those things. And I know what those things are, and I've done it enough so that just like when you go into the home and you meet with a family and they give you an objection, you know how to handle it. Like I've seen all the smoke screens enough that I know how to handle those before they even come up.
Okay.
And the biggest thing I try to do with new agents is help them understand that, 25% of the time, I don't know what the number is, but a percentage of the time, the people that you're going to see are going to buy it no matter what you do, just because they don't want to go through it again. And if I can get people to just focus on that, it just go get the laydowns to start with, and just get them to move forward. It's really all that I'm trying to get them to do. So I want them to show up to dial days, be on the dial teams, get plugged into all the stuff. Why is it important to get plugged into all the stuff? Because it can nurture them when I'm not there to nurture them. If they're in your Slack group and they see other people having success, that helps. If they're in the Facebook group, they see other people having success, that helps. If they're following you on social media and they see you went out and helped a family, then that helps. So I'm getting them plugged into stuff, and what I'm trying to do is get them in an environment where other people are winning. And that's pretty much it. And I let people move at their own pace, and I don't cram anything down their throat. If they're ready to run, I run with them. If they're walking, I walk with them. If they're crawling, I crawl with them.
That's huge. Okay, so say that again. What is it about the hope? A hope of gain? Is that what you phrased?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you saw this, I don't believe you had a hope of gain, did you?
Yes, but it wasn't the type of gain that it would, looking back, like what it turned into was not even on the radar. But for me, the hope of gain was, can I make enough money to make sure that my kids can go to the school they go to? Because I don't want to put my kids back in a public school. Because the school they went to, I kind of fell in love with. It was a great little school. And I would have lived in my car if I had to make sure that those kids went to that school. That's how much I believed in what they were doing. And so for me, it was like, can I help enough families to do that? Can I help enough families to make sure that I pay the house payment and keep them in school? And then what ends up happening is as you go, your vision stretches. And that's the thing I try to get people to understand. You need to go as far as you can see. And then when you get there, you'll be able to see further. You don't have to see like step 25. I just need you to show up and dial and set an appointment with Bob.
Yeah.
If we do that, we're doing good.
And so let's kind of reverse the role a little bit or rewind a little bit. Putting you in as when you were a new agent, like you said, you couldn't see sitting here probably as an executive board member yourself. But you are now. So if you could go back to the Tray then, with this opportunity we have, what would you do different, bigger, faster? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I did believe about myself was I could do anything I set my mind to. I had a strong belief in myself and the fact that I could figure anything out and I don't quit easy. So I knew that part. Mistakes I made along the way, there's been a bunch of them. Not recruiting early enough, being concerned about what people thought of me. So if I went to go recruit Mike and I hadn't helped so many families in a month, then I thought that Mike would judge FFL based on me. And that held me back from reaching out to people that actually could have been much better at this than I was, because I was afraid that they would judge my progress. So I didn't move fast that way. The other thing is, there's been a lot of mistakes. The other thing is not hiring staff fast enough. Looking at it as, I have to be at this level or I have to be at this position before I can go do this thing. And I procrastinated a lot because I thought I hadn't arrived at certain levels to be able to provide the type of leadership. And really, what I got from Sean was like, leadership is taken, it's not given. It's better to go out and make mistakes and make something happen than it is to wait around for somebody to give you permission. And it took me a while to figure that out. And I'm still figuring it out. When I say I figured it out, I mean, like I got it down today, but I'll forget next week and I have to relearn. Just those types of things.
So the teams that you're putting together all over the country, what excites you about that? Because you are always out there giving, you're training, you're encouraging. I think I get the feeling, just like you said, you knew you could do it. You knew you would win at anything you tried. You see that in people, but you don't. Tell a little bit about where you get, how you help them become leaders and letting them arrive at those decisions. Because what you shared with us today, sometimes we try to hatch people or babysit people, and that's really doing them an injustice. So your mindset as you go around and help different teams, how do you know who to work with?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Well, people will quit this business for one of three reasons, okay? They either lose belief in themselves, they lose belief in the company, or they lose belief in the person that recruited them. And the only thing that I really have any responsibility in is I want to make sure they don't lose belief in the company and lose belief in me. I can control that. What I can influence is how they feel about themselves. So my goal is to empower people, because you never know when that might multiply, So it doesn't cost anything to encourage folks. It doesn't cost anything to celebrate small wins, because a bunch of small wins lead to big wins, And so I just try to keep that in mind. And I know the best thing I can do for anybody is go recruit somebody else that kills it right out of the gate, just continually proving the model that it's not the leads, it's not this, it's not that. Somebody's having success. If they can do it, you can do it. And I think that's the best thing you can do for anybody.
How do you help people see more than what they can see themselves at?
Well, I think a lot of it for me is I believe anybody can change, and I believe that people were born for a certain purpose, and if they walk in faith long enough, that they'll get a reward. Like, I believe this really is a probability. It's not a possibility.
Wow.
And I believe people can change, and your past doesn't equal your future. And like with me, I've messed up so many things before I got here that everything's a process, So
it's trusting the process.
That's what it is.
Trusting the process. Well, listen, we wanted to grab about 10 minutes of your time. We appreciate you coming in so much. We're cheering you on. You're paving the way for many of us, and we hope you'll come back and visit us again.
Yes, I definitely will.
Executive Board Member Tray Honeycutt.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.